What's up, guys? This is Kaz, the Elevateyourcraft, and welcome to episode number 18 of the vlog. Today, just going to do another little workout update and then talk about some key considerations for beginner jumpers. So we'll get a little into some jump rope talk. But first, just coming off of a pretty good workout. It ended up being muscle up day, and as it sometimes happens with routines, I'll kind of plan for one thing and then end up kind of doing the first thing in the plan, but then just taking it way further than I had expected. What I initially planned to do was some pikes or hanging pike lifts, and then some rope. So probably 80-20, 80% rope and then 20% calisthenics. But then I ended up just doing a lot of muscle ups. Just kind of one of those things where what I ended up doing was 67 muscle ups. So 67 minutes. So one kind of thing I do sometimes is I'll do one muscle up a minute for a certain amount of minutes. This is something I've been doing. I do it mostly with muscle ups, but I've done it with other things like pikes, for example. But I thought, you know what, maybe just do a few. And then I decided I am just going to go all out and give it a shot. So the most I've done so far is 50, so one a minute for 50 minutes. This time around, I went up to 67, and I initially planned to do only 25, so one a minute for 25 minutes, and I just kept pushing myself. And I thought after that, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna keep going on this. I'm feeling really good, and I'm gonna push myself. And during that time, one of the things that I really like to do is during the routine, keep note of it on pad and paper, or sorry, pen and paper. I love writing, handwriting, pen, paper. And what I find it does is really help me push myself. Because in this case, for example, I'd write down, 25 reps, and then I would scratch off one, scratch off the second, scratch off the third. And when I hit, 23, 24, 25, I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to write another five, and I want to keep scratching these off. And it was just a very subtle psychological thing that made me want to keep going. And that's why I really like writing down my routine as I'm doing it. Just because for those small psychological things that can help me get a really good workout in, like happened today. I ended up going all the way from 25 to 67, which was awesome. I beat my previous record, so I'm at my PB, my personal best. I want to get to 100, so 100 muscle ups, so one a minute for 100 minutes. And I'm not too far away. I honestly think maybe one, two tries, I can get it done. So just coming off the heels of that, and my hands are really feeling it. So I don't know if you can see that, but they are pretty beat up right now and in pain just from the bar, the blisters. And I have pretty good calluses already, but once you hit that 60th rep, it can get pretty nasty. So anyway, that's what I ended up doing today. I actually didn't end up doing any rope at all. Normally, I incorporate it into pretty much every workout that I do, but I figured, you know what, I've done enough. So I did a little bit of stretching and then packed it in, had a nice meal, and here we are. So getting to the key considerations portion. What I want to talk about is key considerations for beginner jumpers. When you're new to jump rope, it's pretty intimidating. And there are a lot of things that you might not even think of when you first pick up a rope, whether you get it from a gym, maybe you might be in school and you found one there, or you borrowed it from somebody and you just use it. So there are some things to consider, and one is rope length. Another is rope type. What environment will you be jumping in? And what do you want out of your jumping? Are you just going to use it as a means for cardiovascular exercise? Or are you going to do it because you like maybe endurance specifically? Or do you like tricks and combos and maybe performing, things like that? It's really important to know what you want to get out of it. So those are the key things to consider when you're actually starting to jump, because if you kind of go in it haphazardly, you don't really know what you're getting into. So with the rope length, you want to make sure that it's right for your height. I've done a few things now on a vlog actually specifically addressing rope length. So definitely check that out. I think it's actually the second vlog that I did where I demonstrate how to find the right length for your height. So that's really important because it could make it a lot harder to jump with a rope that's too long or too short. With the rope type, again, what do you want out of it? The rope type will help determine what you get out of it, whether it's just a PVC licorice rope or a heavy leather rope. Things like that make a difference in the speed you can achieve and the mechanics required. So it's really important to consider. And then the environmental conditions, are you going to be inside? Are you going to be at a gym? What type of surface? Is it a basketball court, which has a little bit of give? Is it cement, which has absolutely no give and might be a little more difficult on your joints? So these are things that I honestly didn't really consider when I started, and I put myself through a lot of frustration and issues because of it. So I want to help mitigate those issues for you. The second is breaking your early training into steps. Again, this is something that I did not really do, and I've talked about this a lot in the rope content that I've generated, but it has to do with really breaking your progress into steps. Step one, start jumping without a rope. Mimic proper technique and mimic how you would jump if you were proficient with a rope. Secondly, put both handles of the rope into one hand and then jump like that. Spin it as if your timing was correct. Spin as if you were able to jump over the rope. This step is really key in helping you develop your timing. And then step three, begin to jump over the rope, but do it in one rep. Start in the initial jumping position, the starting position, and then jump. Once you've achieved one rep, then do it again. But break it down into small groups of repetitions. That'll really help you nail down the technique that you've practiced and improve overall. So break your progress into steps. It's really important, something that I wish I did earlier on, just to prevent a lot of frustration, but to also prepare myself with proper technique. So what I had to do a lot in my training is go back and unlearn habits that I developed throughout. And then the third step that I want to talk about, and the final thing I want to mention today, as you know with the vlog, I like to keep things brief. All of this I've discussed at length in the podcast episodes I've done, or even had a little bit of crossover in other vlogs I've done. So be sure to check those out. But the final aspect is more of a mindset, and that's understanding that rope is a skill. It's going to take some time to develop the coordination, the proprioception, just getting used to having a rope in your hand, used to jumping with a rope in your hand, things like that. So it's important to not expect too much too soon, especially if you want to get a workout in. If you have an hour to work out and you really enjoy cardio, make the last 10 or 15 minutes specifically for developing rope skill. Because it's likely at the beginning you're not going to be able to get a great workout in if you're new. So do your cardio or whatever you want to do for that 45 minutes, but then dedicate that extra 15 or that remaining 15 to develop the skills that you need to be able to jump rope proficiently. Then you can get really good workouts in, whether it's cardio, endurance, explosiveness, whatever you want to get out of your rope training. Okay, so it's important to understand that it's a skill, and it might take a little bit of time to get the quality of workout you want out of it. I don't know how many times when I used to work out at gyms a lot, and I'd be jumping rope, how many times I would see people pick one up and then try it out, use it for maybe 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, and then just give up, because they were catching a lot, they weren't able to get out of it what they maybe were expecting. And I also suspect that they were slightly embarrassed. Maybe they didn't want people seeing them making mistakes, which I mean, I understand. I was there as well. But when it comes to that mentality, you're there for yourself. You're there to improve. Don't worry about what other people think, especially with a skill. It comes with everything, whether it's guitar or any other hobby or skill that you're looking to develop. It's going to take some time. Okay, so those three things I think are really important. Make the conditions as favorable as possible. You don't want to set yourself up for failure. You want to make it as easy as possible to progress. And if you do it right at the beginning, the best that you possibly can, you'll be at an advantage. And then breaking your early training down into steps. Manage your progress. Don't make it too difficult that you just get frustrated and either give up or really hinder your progression. And then third is that mindset of understanding that this has a skill aspect to it. It's going to take some time to develop those things before you can get a good quality workout in. So understand that, and you'll be better off. It'll just be easier to deal with, and you'll get more out of your training. Okay, so I think that's all I got for today. As always, keeping it pretty brief, just to give you some small snippets of information. As I mentioned, check out my podcasts that I've done. I've done one on different rope types and rope length and various aspects of rope that I just touched on here, as well as mindset and shadow jumping or breaking your early training down into steps. And it's something that I even still do to this day. If I'm working on something more advanced or something that I feel might be a stretch to achieve, I'll just break it down. I'll jump, I'll try the technique without the rope and just simulate the movements. That way it helps me get used to what I need to do. So it's really important to do that. That way you can manage your progress and not try and bite off more than you can chew, and develop bad habits, because that can definitely be a thing where you can maybe do a technique, say a crossover, better with one arm in front versus the other, or side swings, or if you can rotate better one way versus the other. So some things to keep in mind. But that's it for me today. Hope you enjoyed the vlog. Hope it was useful. If you enjoy this kind of thing, let me know. I'm always open to hearing feedback. But other than that, I'll check you guys next time.